Hey guys, I'm just going to dig right in and let you guys join as you will. So I don't think it's a big secret at this point how many or what exactly it is I've been working on. I have been secretly hinting at this and sort of quietly talking about it with a lot of you for a lot of weeks now. And certainly like in the last few days as I've been sharing images and more openly discussing what all of this is about. I don't think it's any secret at this point that I am launching a line of candles. But that being said, it was really, really important to me to share this moment with all of you, not just because I have brought you guys along in such a big way on this journey as a whole, but also because I feel like there's a lot more to tell and a lot more story behind why this is so important to me and why I decided to do this the way that I did it. And also just why I think it's bringing something to the market that didn't exist before. So I wanted to spend, 10 or 20 or 30 minutes with you guys, just kind of talking this through and kind of telling you my backstory and letting you kind of continue to share in this journey with me that some of you have been sharing with me for several years now. And this is just kind of the next big step. So I see you guys are joining. I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you so much for taking the time. So kind of taking a step back before we sort of dig into, candles and design and, what exactly the product is and all this stuff. I will tell you before I dig in that my dear, dear friend, Fred Abley, who is the reason that my website exists at this point, or at least this aspect of my website, just took it live. So don't leave this, but if you have another device handy or you just want to check it out afterwards, if you go to either corememorycandles.com, you'll be redirected, or you can just go directly to the castlerun.com blog and click on the Core Memory Candles tab at the top, and you will see the products. They've just gone live in the last few minutes. So all that being said, I kind of want to take a step back with you guys and share with you kind of how this all came to be. So I think the right place to start here is, you guys all know, or for the most part probably know, that we're Disney locals now. We moved down here just over 2 years ago. But before that, we were up in Maryland, which is our other home. And we would be coming down here frequently on family vacations. And just because of the nature of my life at that point, the nature of my work at that point, we were dealing with pretty awful illnesses in the family and things like that. When I would come down here, the nature of my time down here was, and I've talked about this before, was almost like clung to with desperation. And I can imagine that I'm not the only one who can identify with that. We would be down here and it would be wonderful, but I would know that there was an ending. It was just a trip. It was home in quotes, but it wasn't home yet, even though it felt in my heart like it was home. And so the time that we were down here, I would so often find myself valuing so much, not the moments on roller coasters or the parades or the big loud moments, but those sort of quiet moments where I could be in this place and feel it with all my heart. And so many times in those moments, particularly then as a non-local, I would be here, and I've said this before, I think I remember saying this on that Moving to Disney podcast that I did with Lou and his wonderful family, that I would be in these moments and I would force myself to be present and to stop and to breathe and to take it in as much as I could, because I knew that that moment was going to end. And that I knew that if nothing else, I wanted to be able to be away from Disney and after that trip and be able to know that while I wasn't here anymore, while my heart was here, I wasn't physically here anymore, that I had at least been fully present in that moment and appreciated it while it was happening. And again, like I said, those moments weren't riding Space Mountain or Flight of Passage or watching necessarily even fireworks or a parade. They were these like quiet moments. Like I would be sitting at my favorite table that I talk about all the time at the Morocco Pavilion, back behind Tangerine Cafe, and I would just have this moment, and I would say, be present here in this moment, because it's going to end. And I want to know when it's over and I'm home back in Maryland again, that I at least appreciated it while it was happening. Whether I was riding a boat in the land, or riding Spaceship Earth, going past the burning library of Alexandria, or so many other things, I wanted to know that I was present in those moments. And like so many of us, I wish that I could bottle those moments up somehow and take them home with me, because I wanted to have a connection and a way to be back here when I had to not be here anymore, particularly, of course, as a non-local. And that was when sort of the power of the sense of smell came to me. I've always been a huge, huge fan of scents and the power of scents. I've always been, very aware of the neuroscience behind the power of smell. It's funny because they call smell the fifth sense, but it's actually the most primal of our senses, of course. And, whether you know neuroscience or psychology or not, this, right? Because, everybody's had that moment where they were walking down the street and all of a sudden they breathed in and they smelled like the soap that a loved one used 4 years ago. And all of a sudden you're back in that place, right? I remember, my late grandmother would be, my late grandmother would come to our house every Thanksgiving, and we would bake pie. That was one of my best childhood memories, is just sitting at the kitchen table with my grandmother and my cousins with piles and piles of peeled apples, baking apple pies. And so for me, when I smell apple pie, I'm there again. Smell's a really, really powerful thing, you guys. And so as I was wishing I could bottle up these moments, and knowing that the power of scent could bring me here, it all started to come together in my head that if I could somehow package these scents, that I would somehow be able to bring it home, even if I couldn't be here. That being said, there's other candle lines out there. I don't know how many, maybe there's a half dozen, maybe there's a dozen other candle companies out there that do sort of theme park smells, and that kind of thing. And, that being said, I explored them, I looked at them. I appreciate that they exist. I appreciate that they're honoring this powerful sense in the same way that I wanted to honor it. That being said, it didn't work for me necessarily. And I think the big thing here, and what comes in here, is that while I love Disney with all my heart, the way that I have chosen to bring it into my home, and this is again something that I've talked about with you guys before, is very subtly and very much in line with my overall aesthetic and the way that I choose to present my home and share my home with guests and my family. I love Disney with all my heart. That being said, you will not find a framed picture of Mickey Mouse anywhere in my house. Not interested in it. You will not find primary colors in my house. You will not find giant pictures of a castle or fireworks in my house. I have instead chosen to bring this place into my home in a way that I feel like quietly honors my love of it, while still including people who might not share my passion for it. And so, and I've mentioned this before too, but if you walk around my home, I have, a lovely little watercolor of the boardwalk in the space between my kitchen and family room. That's beautiful. And if you know what it is, you connect with it. Boardwalk is my heart resort. It's where we own our DVC. There was a very, very special trip along many years ago where I sort of reconnected with Disney, and it was at that resort. And we recently lost my dad, and we came down here on a sort of get out of Dodge trip, and came down here and fell in love with this place all over again. And I remember standing on the boardwalk one night there and just breathing in the night air on a beautiful, perfect Florida October night. And that was sort of where this all started. And so that's why that watercolor is hanging in my kitchen. That being said, if you come into my home and you don't love Disney the way I love Disney, it's a pretty picture. The same thing, mentioned before too, like over the television in my family room, I've got framed patent application sketches of things like the Doom Buggies and the monorail and Sleeping Beauty Castle and the Astro Orbiter. And if you know Disney and you want to connect with that the way that you're distracting me. And you want to connect with that the way that I connect with that, you're going to see it and you're going to understand that I love it too, and we can connect in that way. But at the same time, if you come into my home and you're not a Disney fanatic, it's still pretty and it's still beautiful and it's still subtle and it's still in line with the aesthetic of my home as a whole. And that's really important to me because I don't want to exclude people who don't share my passions when they come into my house. And so this all comes together into what I am launching today, which is a line of gorgeous candles that are all Disney inspired. They all evoke wonderful Disney memories for me and so many of the people that I have shared them with so far, with the power of smell. But that being said, they really just smell beautiful. And the ingredients, and if you know me and how type A I am, you know I've tested every wax, I've tested every wick, I've tested every vessel. It's the best stuff, you guys. Like, they're beautiful and simple and creamy and perfect. And, you know, they remind me of sort of like a Kiehl's aesthetic in their sort of apothecary style. The vessels are heavy and they have wooden lids and the fonts are perfect. And so, like everything else that I bring into my home, if you love Disney, you're going to get it and you're going to connect with them in the way that I connect with them. There's one that's just called Ocean Flight that is the exact smell of Disney uses different scents throughout properties. So it's the smell of the Contemporary and Bay Lake Tower and Beach Club and Yacht Club. And when you're on that Banshee flying over the water and when you're flying over Fiji on Soarin', that's all the same smell, which you might not realize. But whatever element of that you connect with and feel when you smell that smell, it's that exact smell. But that's also just like a really beautiful smell. It's the ocean and it's fresh and it's air. And if you've never been to Disney in your life and have no interest whatsoever in it, you're going to walk into my house and breathe, and it's going to be really lovely. And the packaging is the same way. So I don't know if you guys can see, but this is the packaging of the candles. And this is the poison apple one. And it just says core memory candles, and then everyone is the same. It just says core memory candles and then the name of the candle. And then it just says breathe, be home. For me, breathe, be home means to be here in this place in Disney. For somebody else, it might be something very different, but it just says breathe, be home. And then it says soy bun candle, handcrafted under sunshine and fireworks, the net weight, the burn time, and then it says made with love to feed your soul. Sorry. And so that's why these are so special to me. I think for me, I smell these, and I shared with you the story before, like this one is called Poison Apple for obvious reasons, but it smells like apple pie baking. It takes me to Philhar Magic, but it also takes me to the Thanksgiving table with my grandma baking pie. This one is called Very Merry. It takes me to the resorts with the trees during the holiday season, but it also just takes me to Christmas morning with my parents. I'll share some more with you guys before we close up. And before I start reading your comments, I'm so sorry. I know you've been writing and I haven't been reading them yet because I'm just trying to get this out. But I love them because they speak to my heart, but I also love them because I feel like they could speak to someone's heart who's never been to Disney. And I love them because I can burn them in my home and they're beautiful and they remind me of this place. And they would have reminded me of this place when I wasn't living here and had to go home to not Florida, not Windermere. But they're going to evoke different memories for everybody. They're just beautiful smells, you guys. They're beautiful packaging. The vessels are lovely. They're simple. They're clean. They mesh with my aesthetic, and I hope they mesh with some of your aesthetic as well. And so needless to say, like, I've been yapping for 15 minutes now, but I wanted you guys to share this part of my journey as much as I have shared so much else of my journey with you guys, and you've come along with me for the ride and held my hand along the way. And I hope you love these as much as I do. They're really, really special to me, and I've been burning them in my home for a long time. And I hope that you guys are burning them in your homes too soon. So all that being said, I'll check out your comments. I love you all so much for joining me. I'm so appreciative that you took the time this evening. And also, if you go to, like I said, if you go to the site now, you can get there just by going to corememorycandles.com. That'll redirect you to my website. There's also just a tab on the regular Castle Run website for the shop. You'll see a banner there, thanks to Fred. If you go there, so there is a code, I think it's Launch Party, that is going to offer free shipping on everything for the first 2 weeks, so through October 2nd, so that as many of you as possible can enjoy them and bring them into your home and try them out. I just want you guys to have them and try them and fall in love with them. And then for what it's worth, then going forward after October 2nd, I will always offer free shipping on any order over 3 candles or $75. So my goal is just to get them to you. I want you to have them and love them as much as I love them. And I'm so excited, you guys, and I'm so, so excited that you're joining me for this part of my journey as well. So let me go back here and see. I'm having trouble like scrolling through all of these comments, but let's see. So Crystal, you asked which smell is my favorite. That's a really, really good question. And I actually was thinking about that before this live show because I wanted to have an answer ready. I don't know if I have a favorite. I mean, I think the ocean flight smell, that is the smell of the Contemporary, is so, so classic that it's hard not to love it. That being said, my earliest, not just my earliest memory at Disney, I think like my earliest memory period is riding Horizons with my parents and then like rounding the corner into that futuristic space where like orange smell would smack you in the face. Again, just a huge testament to the power of smell to be burned into your memory. But I have this smell called Orange Grove. That's just a combination of orange blossom and fresh squeezed orange juice that for me evokes that memory. And because that's such a powerful memory to me, it's really, really important to me. Also, I have, let's see, I've got so many, I have 22 cents launching, and I'm going to expand. I definitely want your input on what you guys want to see next. This one, that's the Land Pavilion, is a gorgeous, like earthy smell that's a combination of tomato leaves and garden soil. That definitely for me is riding the boats through the Land Pavilion, and also just sort of gardening with my mom when I was a little girl. It's a very earthy smell, not floral at all, very earthy. And then this one, if you're here, Jason Knapp also deserves so much love and so much gratitude because he has been here like snipping oils and like concocting stuff like a mad chemist in my house, just like I have. And I am very grateful for his very poignant sense of smell. This one is called Pioneer Hall. I showed this one to him earlier today, and it's hoopty. So it's earthy like the campground, but then it's like full of cornbread and toasted marshmallows and outdoors. And it's just this gorgeous smell, like that is probably going to evoke some sort of different memory for everybody who smells it. But it's full of hoop-de-doo, and I love it with all my heart. So I could go on and on. I love them all for different reasons. Oh, and this, look, you guys, this is Fall of Rome. So this is the burning of the Library of Alexandria in Spaceship Earth, which I mentioned really early on in this, which just, it's always been like one of those moments for me, like whether I lived here or not, like when I'm riding on Spaceship Earth and Dame Judi Dench tells me that, room fell, and thank goodness there was a backup system. Like that moment in the darkness with the glowing embers and that smell of fire, it's just one of those like moments that I always wanted to bottle up and take home with me. So the fact that I have this fall of Rome candle to burn in my house is really, really wonderful. And it's something that I would have loved to have had before I was local. Let's see. Tim, thank you so much for joining, and I can't wait to see you this weekend. Fred, thank you so much. There are no words, Fred, for how grateful I am for all of the help that you gave me along the way here. And all I can say to everybody here, and I will shout this from the rooftops, like if you have a business dream, if you have a model, if you have something that you want to launch and you are, a blank space like me in the computer department, like call Fred. He's going to help. Like he has taken this on with as much heart and energy as I have in the last week or two. And he's the reason this website exists. Like I can create and write and make it beautiful things like till my face turns blue. But when it comes to implementing it all on a computer screen, I am useless. So there are people and friends like Fred who come in moments like this and make your dream a reality. And Fred, I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much. And please, you guys, use him, call him. He's wonderful. Just moving through here. Thank you so much, Cheryl. And everyone else, just share this out. If you want to share this out, share the love, share the candles. I want them to be everywhere. I want everyone to have them. I love them so much. And I want my babies to go all over the world. Yes, Ashley, I know. And Ashley, you and your mother and your dad, so early on in this process, sitting around my kitchen table, humoring me as I'm shoving oil after oil under your nose and asking you what everything reminded you of. I love you guys so much. I'm so grateful for you. Chuck, thank you so much. Mom, thank you for being here. Let's see. All right, guys. So I think, Jim, smell is definitely your most objective sense. It's also your most ancient sense. It's the most primal. It's the one that animals have that don't have any other sense. And it actually, from a neurological standpoint, smell actually bypasses all of the sort of rational gateways of your mind and heads directly to the hub of memory and emotion. So it's a scientific thing. It's a very real thing. So I'm skimming along here. Oh, Sam, thank you for being here. All right, guys. So I love you all so much. If I missed any of your questions, I'm so sorry, but you can always reach out to me. My email is lisa@thecastlerun.com. You can also reach out to me on Facebook, of course. I'm also on Instagram as The Castle Runner. And have a presence there that I adore. So you can reach out to me through any of those spaces or just through the contact page on the blog. That being said, just keep an eye on the page. I'm going to be asking for your input going forward on different smells and what we should tackle next, and what smells you want to bring into your home. They don't always have to be Disney. There's plenty of wonderful, beautiful smells out there that aren't Disney. So yeah, just keep an eye on the page, and thank you guys so much. I love you all so much. I'm so appreciative that you spent this portion of your evening with me. And I'm just going to go ahead and close up shop. For those of you that are going to be in town this weekend, I can't wait to see you. I love you all. And like many of us, I have another live feed engagement in about 5 minutes that I'll switch over to. So thank you all. I love you all. Go check out the site, corememorycandles.com, or just head straight to thecastlerun.com and hit the Core Memory Candles tab. I can't wait to share them with all of you. I love you all. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Good night.